All right, so my previous video, I have had some issue with the audio, so I'm making up for my previous video. And I'm talking about the video regarding Digital Foundry, the new HDR patch, update analysis. And I like their video. Let me just say that I like their video. I like what they've done on their video. It was fair. And the whole point of that video was that they have their own opinions. You know, some of them like the HDR, and some of them are a bit critical about the HDR because they don't like that high uh, peak brightness and a high tone mapping of the white digital levels. Okay, so the important thing here that I want you guys to remember is that what I was trying to say on that video was that everyone has their preference, and that's cool, man. Listen, man, God bless you. If you have a preference, that's cool. We all have preference, you know. Some people, they want to play the game, they want to play the HDR with not with the cinematic mode. They like to try the game mode, and they want to go and crank that, peak brightness to 22, and move down the paper white to 170 or 200. You know, some people, they want to play it like this. You know what I mean? That's okay. You know, everyone has their preference. Now, which preference is correct? Well, that's a tough one. You know, which preference is correct? Because there is no, there is no correct preference. They are all preferences, guys. So, and I think what's so cool about that video about Digital Foundry is that they did like the HDR, you know, and they had their little criticism regarding the peak brightness, and they don't like the fact that it was too bright. But overall, guys, this HDR here, it's probably the best that we got from Rockstar. Remember, Rockstar games, they were never they never made an HDR game until Red Dead Redemption 2. So it was a big challenge for them to get into the HDR, especially for a big game like this. Guys, you have to remember, this is a huge game. This is not like some small, tiny game. This is a big, gigantic game where the HDR plays a huge role of tone mapping. And you have to use a proper tone mapping on such a gigantic game. All right? So you have to remember, it took them a long time to implement that correct HDR, and they did. So I like the Digital Foundry video, and what's cool about that video is they all have their own opinions about it, and that's what it's all about. So guys, let's make one thing clear. Everyone has a different setup. You have a different setup than me. You have a different television than me. Your television, it's even connected differently than me. You're going through many different shortcuts through your receivers and whatnot. Everyone has a different setup. Everyone has a different TV, and everyone will have a different preference on the settings. Okay. Now, granted, there's a professional calibration, but I personally don't agree with the professional calibration, because professional calibration has standards, and those standards, to me, they can't make every game look great. And that's the thing I want you guys to remember. They can't make every game look great, because every game is different. Same thing goes with the movies. Every movie is different. Every movie has a different color, different principal photography, different everything. The tone of the movie, it's different. So, this idea that I can use this so-called universal calibrations and everything's going to look great on that universal calibration, to me, that's just a bunch of nonsense. Now, of course, I have cranked up the peak brightness here, so the ideal thing would be not to do that. Let's just move the peak brightness down to 1500. Okay, let's say you have an OLED. I usually tell people 1000, but honestly for the OLED, I would say 800. So 800 and 200 here. Let me see, 230. I would say 800 and 230 for the OLED. I think you're gonna enjoy it. So let's say you have an OLED. This is what I would recommend for the OLED, right here. And now you get to see it a little bit better. But then again, you're gonna need an OLED TV to utilize that. Okay, because every television is different. You know, there's individuals out there that have 750 nits peak of brightness televisions. There's people out there that have decent color gamut, you know, like 72% DCI-P3 color accuracy. You know, if you have a decent color gamut, if you have a decent peak brightness, guys, you know, you can't really expect this game to shine. You can't expect this thing to shine on your television. You know, and this is the thing. I would really love to, like, I would love to go and participate with some of these professional calibrators. Go to their meetings, and I'll be more than happy to do a video. I'll be more than happy to show you, you know, why I disagree with their settings, why I don't think that the professional calibrating it's the way to go. Because guys, if the professional calibration was the way to go, well, guess what, guys? Then you wouldn't need this. You wouldn't need the options. You wouldn't need the options to regulate these things yourself. Okay, everything would be locked. Everything would be already preset for you, so you wouldn't have to do anything. All right. Now, that's not to say that there is no some merit to professional calibration. Sure, they can calibrate a certain content, you know, that's feasible for that certain content. But that's all you can do. It's all you can do. It's only calibrate that certain content. You cannot have a universal calibration. There's no such thing as universal calibration. All they can do is calibrate that certain content. That means that movie, you want to calibrate that movie, just that movie. This game, you want to calibrate just this game. Why only this game? Because the other games are different than Red Dead Redemption 2. You can't use the same calibration settings that you have used on a Red Dead Redemption 2. Okay, and to me, that's the issue. That's the problem. There is no universal calibrations. And this is why we all have our own settings. We all have our own preferences, because all of these televisions are different, guys. They're all different, and they're different for a reason, okay? But me personally, kudos to Rockstar Games. I think they've done a fantastic job. This is a PlayStation 4 Pro version. Like right now, what you're watching here is the PlayStation 4 Pro version, and it just looks fantastic. You know. So anyway, I just wanted to redo this video and tell you that, look guys, I agree. I like that video. I like that video from Digital Foundry. People out there are misleading, and they're saying all kinds of things about me that's not true. First of all, don't buy into that crap. It's not true. I have nothing against Digital Foundry. I'm big supporter of Digital Foundry. I watch their videos. I'm also subscribed to them. I'm subscribed to Evil Boris. That doesn't mean that I agree with every settings that Evil Boris puts out there, but there are certain settings that he puts out that I like. Okay, that doesn't mean that I agree with everything that Digital Foundry says, but there are certain things that I agree on when they say it. Okay, it's 50-50, just like everything else. All right. But this notion that some people have that I'm like, that I have to agree with every single thing that Digital Foundry or Evil Boris or Adam or John or Richard they say they put out. That's kind of nonsense. That's total nonsense. You know, we all have our preferences. Every single one of us have our own preferences. You know, and I don't understand why is this so difficult for some individuals to understand. I'm not talking about my regulars. I'm not talking about my regular subscribers. But there's people out there who clearly, honestly, they can't think for themselves. You know, they think that okay, I need to wait for Digital Foundry to tell me. They all want someone else to tell them on what they should do and what they on how they should use their settings. They can't think for themselves. Nikola Tesla would never be at the level that he was at if he was listening to other people, if he needed someone else to tell him what to do. The reason he was so successful is because he had an open mind and he wasn't afraid to think for himself and to do things differently than what the others are saying, you know. And that's the one thing that I think in today's society it's really, really missing, man. Everybody wants someone else to tell them, like, what TV should I buy? I don't know, dude. What TV should you buy? I'm not you. I don't know what you like. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Okay? What game should I buy? What movies should I buy? I don't know. I don't know what movies you like. You see, this is this constant ridiculousness that this society, this generation has. They need someone else to tell them, you know. They need me to tell them that go with the PlayStation 4 Pro version of Red Dead Redemption 2. Why? Why do you need me to tell you that? Both versions are equally great. Both versions will give you HDR, and both versions will look great, and they will have same experience. Granted, Xbox One X version has a native 4K, so if you have the luxury to have the Xbox One X version, then fine, get the native 4K on the Xbox One X version. All right, and that's all I'm trying to bring about here, guys. You know, that's the whole thing here that I think it's been missing. You know, I have no problem with you know, Digital Foundry. I have no problem with Evil Boris. I have no issue with these individuals, but there's these clowns out there and the salty haters that were gonna put out the video out there and say that I have the issue, that I have the problem, when it's not true. If there was a problem, if I did have issue between Digital Foundry and me, you would know about it, and Digital Foundry would have addressed that issue as well if there was a problem, but there is no problem, okay? I just have my own opinion. I have my own difference of opinion on certain things, as they do. That's all it is. And I didn't disagree with their video. I didn't disagree. I just simply said we all have our own preference. I just said that I like the HDR. The reason I got upset because people were telling me that my preference is wrong. I was like, and you should follow the Evil Boris settings. You should follow Digital Foundry settings. Your preference is wrong. This is the whole reason why people follow me on my channel. This is the whole reason why they're subscribed to me since day one, 2015, 2016, and even early 2014. Even though I was just doing live streams back then. The reason they came to me because they wanted to hear and they wanted to see my preference. What is my preference? Let me try his preference. Why? Because it's free. I would like to try somebody else's recipe. Well, let me try his preference. If I don't like it, I don't have to use it. You know, I'm not going to use it if I don't like it. And that's why people come to me. That's why they come to my channel, because they want to see, hey, what Mr. 4K is using, what type of preference is he putting on this content, on this movie, on this video game. How does he feel about the OLED? How does he feel about the QLED? They want to hear my opinion, all right? And that's what it's all about. You know, that's what it's all about, guys. And that's all there is to it. But remember, before I end this video, at the end of the day, it's all going to depend on type of TV do you have, on type of setup do you have? What kind of TV are you using? Is your TV a HDR capable standard? Is your TV full wide color gamut? You know, you gotta look at these things. You have to look into this. You have to do a research. You have to do your homework, man. All right. You have to do your homework. You can't just simply go out there and buy something half-assed. You have to, either you want to get serious about it, or you're not. Either you're gonna do a proper research and find out what's the good and appropriate 4K HDR TV for you, or don't even bother. You know, all you should take away from my videos, it's my opinions. Now, how much is my opinions gonna help you? Well, that's up to you. I hope it helps, but I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to tell you what to buy. I'm not here to tell you what settings to use, okay? Nor am I a professional anything. I'm just here to share my preference. I'm here to share my opinions, and I'm here to share my thoughts, unbiased experience and thoughts on all of the above. The content, the games, the TVs, the VR, you name it, okay? And I think for the last time, I don't know how many of these Red Dead Redemption videos I have made so far. I think for the last time, that should be clear. You know, if that's not clear by now, then I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't have a cure for you. Other than that, there you go. Sorry for my previous video. I had issues with the HDR. I mean, with the audio. So I figured, let me just go ahead delete that video, because the audio didn't work. So you couldn't hear anything. I had to delete the video. I mean, you can't hear nothing. So I decided to re-upload a different type of a video like this for you guys. All right, have a good one though. Take care.